welcome back to our podcast, People Bring Profit. Just want to start out by saying this today. Please go out and subscribe. I want to say that. Say it many times. Man, it's blowing up all over the different reels we have, going crazy. But I need you to go out and subscribe to these podcasts for us and help out. But hey, guys, how are y'all?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Hey, you doing okay today?
Doing great.
At Aspire to be headquarters here today. It's a beautiful day today. Had the debate last night. We'll get into topics a little bit about that. But this is a topic that I wanted to bring up with us as a group. We get asked this all the time. If you go follow our bios, again, I want to say if you're watching our reels, go watch the whole podcast. So you know what you're really commenting on and understand us a little bit more. But one thing, we are a franchisee of 6 different concepts, 6 different unique concepts, 5 of them being a franchisee, 1 being a, what are we now with Starbucks, Kim?
A licensee.
A licensee. I always screw that up. If you ever watch us talk about that, Justin, I always screw that up. But this is a question, and it kind of, I'm glad I kind of stole this one and put it in the line with our podcast topics, because I want to shout out to a sounds like a young mother that reached out and made a comment on my reels. And rarely do I go back and make comments on all the comments that we get. Kim tells me to stop it because some of them are, what do you call those guys?
Yahoos.
The trolls.
Yeah, the ones that just attack us for everything, that truly don't know our values or who we are or where we came from and what our true meaning of this is. But there was one on there that kind of touched me because it's something that me and Kim take pride in. It was a young mother, and shout out to you for asking that question. It was like, hey, what kind of franchise can I get in with a young family? And again, my comment back to her was, and mine and Kim's comments back to all you family members or people that would have young children like we did that grew up in the back of our stores, is like, don't let your kids hold you back. Take them along for the journey, because they can learn a lot with you, and you can change your whole life destiny with this. So that's the topic of this, Kim and Justin, that I really wanted to get in here and talk about franchising and what's important to us and why do we like, or why are we good at the franchising side, and kind of start at like ground zero. Because we do that every day. We're looking at multiple franchises pretty much all the time. Justin comes in my office all the time. He's like, Jersey Mike's.
Yeah. Let's talk about that one. Yeah.
Me and Kim travel down the roads, and we'll be in a big city. Houston, Dallas are traveling. And we were in California this past week for her birthday, and we're just looking at different concepts and thinking, what is that? We don't have that in our area. So I wanted to kind of walk through this whole purpose of this podcast of us, how we look at going into a franchising and what kind of brands we look at, what's the important things, and what some of the check marks that Justin might look at as a CEO, what I look at, then Justin is the operating guy, what he looks at, and Kim is the financial, and of all good things, and protecting us legally. What do you look at? Mm-hmm. So I think that's where I want to kind of start this out as, is like, let's start at the beginning. And the first thing I think a franchisee or a potential person that's looking to get in this business would be look at something you're interested in, right?
Oh, yeah, something that appeals to you, something that you think is missing within your community or within a community that you're familiar with.
Yeah,
sure.
And I think we did that too, and that's what interested in. What was interesting in me and Kim was we just were wanting to start a franchise. We just wanted to get in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted to do something to get into something. And Justin, on the franchise side, it made it simple because me and Kim weren't the most professional business people at the time. We didn't know the whole business side. We knew we wanted to, be an entrepreneur. We wanted to own our own business. But on the operation side, it's important.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, when you're looking at a franchise, they're going to give you the playbook, but having good work ethic and working hard and showing up and running the plays, it's a great opportunity to thrive, because you might not have all the experience in the world when you're just starting out. You might not know the accounting stuff, the HR stuff, being able to make a menu. So the franchise system really helps with that. And from an ops perspective, I'm looking at things that, and it might sound crazy, of just like, does it smell good? Does it look clean? I remember going into the Bayville Jersey Mike's 25 years ago, and I remember
Jersey
how
Mike's.
Oh no, and we're not even affiliated with them. But you ask what I look for in a restaurant, but like, the smell of what it was 20 or 25 years ago, and that brand has an essence, and it's like, prices are going to go up. We're going to do remodels. They're going to look a little bit different. But does it still have the same essence that it did when I knew that brand was 10 stores. And I feel like some of our brands do that really well. Like B-Dubs still feels like a B-Dubs to me. And I bartended with the old wooden bar, and it just feels really, really good. And they went from, back then 50 stores to over 1,000. So if a franchise can make you feel like it was one of the original experiences you had back in the day, or when you used to enjoy it, and you're getting into something you like, you got to pay attention to that, because you're going to be there all the time.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to grow and scale.
You're right.
It's going to have to run without you being there. And those owners that lived in New Jersey for Mike's, or Ohio for B-Dubs, they're not going to be there with you. So you have to trust that their systems and their brand can grow with you. And you just got to have really good work ethic and want to be there and show up and connect with your community.
And spend time there.
Yeah, and for me, franchises alone are just like a turnkey concept. You come into them and they have everything planned out for you, basically. They give you guidance on your budget, they give you guidance on your operations, and they give you guidance on your build out and all the things. It's just it's a real turnkey concept that people that are young, starting out, asking questions, like you referred to the young mom, franchise business is perfect for you, especially if you don't have that knowledge or experience to draw from.
And that's important, like you said. Justin, it has the operation template. Basically, this is this volume you should do. This is the employee staffing you should have. It helps you with the legality of it, Kim, on that side too, and it helps us in like when we went. I go back and do our Quiznos, that we didn't really know the business side, but they gave us a template that we were able to take to the bank. And then we did, and you do that, and you hold that template today that you do. You and Justin work these models that when we were opening one of just our new restaurants, that you'll have like a good, better, best in a pro forma, right? And that's what the franchise business will give you, that where it'll say, okay, you kind of fill in your numbers. It'll do your demographics of your area. Let's use a Jersey Mike's, for example. For God's sake, we're going to, because Justin wants to buy one of them. Jersey Mike's. If anybody listens to that, somebody call us from the Jersey Mike.
We're not even
department.
affiliated with them.
Yeah,
I just grew up eating subs there.
He just loves their sandwiches.
Well, they're coming to Texas.
They
right?
are.
So like you see them all over the place, and it's kind of funny because they're popping up.
What's funny
it
that
smells like the one in Point Pleasant or Bayville.
Yeah.
Every time I travel,
Jersey
I'm
boys
like,
excited.
well, there's a Jersey Mike's. I should get one. And Kim says, I do not want a sandwich. Let's say this too. Kim's just not a sandwich person, unless it's a Quiznos.
I do not like
Unless it's Quiznos. Yeah, she's just not a sandwich
cold
person.
Sandwiches.
But also, when it makes it so much simple when you go to the bank and you have those templates, and then you have a brand behind you besides a mom and pop.
Yes.
It's like me and Kim wanted to open our wing place up, and you go to a bank and say, hey, me and Kim got this idea. We got, we need some money. Well, what's your pro forma like? Well, this is what we came up. What's your, what name you call it? And they're just not going to feel comfortable with that. But when they look at a franchise, they can look at the system, and normally you can get a lot of data from that too. So, when you talk about that, you first got to find your interest. And what do you like to do? What do you enjoy to do? Do you want to, I was telling Justin the other day, if you're a tent guy, right? Yeah, I look in these books, and I didn't bring my magazine here. Me and Kim and Justin get these books all the time sent to us. Yeah. And it's Franchise Times, I think this is. And me and you go to these conferences. We all go to these conferences, and there's hundreds of franchise businesses out there, if not more, that are all out there. And you find something that you're interested. Like if I'm a young guy and I like the window tent, there's a tent franchise, right? And it's easier to start that than it is to start your own business, because they have a template. They normally have an online system where people can order like their to get their tent when it's tented. Me, I have to look it up, like who's tenting there, who recommends what. But it's a simple format. You go to the bank, get a loan. It's easier to get a loan. You can start your own business and follow the template, and they give you a book to follow, right?
Yeah, and something that you said that I really want people to hone in on is that there's opportunities out there for conferences and for franchises, and I didn't even know these things existed until like within the last couple of years. But you can sign up, and there's all kind of franchises that you can visit booth to booth and just see their business model and kind of weigh in on what their business looks like and what franchises are offering or they have offering.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
And that's a quick Google search.
It is, and you could find them all over. There are different ones, and you can, used to in the days me and Kim found our Quiznos, We went to the bookstore because the internet wasn't like it was today, and we
Yeah.
just went to Books A Million and looked through books and stumbled across a couple of we were looking at, and just stumbled across Quiznos through a word of mouth type of thing. So that's a good concept with that, or good idea with that, to go look at conferences, because me and you've been to conferences and there's hundreds, and as soon as you walk there, boy, they're attacking you like, hey, it's just like a flea market.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch out there, but you got to find out what you're interested in, then you got to kind of find out the reputation of the business, right? So if you're finding one that's like
That's
a Jersey Mike's, they're a big concept. They've been around for a long time. There's one we looked at a while back that we love to eat at, our kids, because there's one in College Station, Dave's Hot Chicken. I mean, we walked in that place like, man, this is awesome. But we can't open this place because it's a competition compared to our Buffalo Wild Wings, because I guess chicken. So, but then you go look at those, reputations of the business, right? To see how good or strong as a company they are.
And if you're looking at a franchisee though, it's, the voice of the customer is great. The books that you might read are great, but I think where you need to pay attention to is the consumer behavior and just taking a look at the guests. And the best way to do that for me is not in a college course or, in a book. It's going in there and actually seeing if people are enjoying the product. And I think a franchise system allows you to focus way more on your guest and way less on the back of house and those types of systems. So like you all, and we talk about this a lot, it's like, if I lived here, maybe it would run better. That piece of it is super important. So I think one of the big pieces is you'll be able to, in a franchise system, really work with your guests and hone in on what their needs are and give them a product that they want. And because you have all the tools, or most of the tools to get you there.
Yeah, and I think too is that as you're looking for a franchise, it's important for you to align with the franchisor as far as their vision. Like, what are their visions? Or is the vision of the franchisor to just stomp these individual places on every street corner? Are they more protective of who they're letting in? Are they letting in everybody? Because you don't want everybody to get in, because you don't want a bunch of young business owners in fluctuating a specific franchise, because then you have no experience to draw on. And that's a big hurdle for everybody to overcome. But if you have some more seasoned franchisees within the concept, to me, that's what I look for.
Yeah.
Your neighbor's reputation will be a reflection of your reputation.
Absolutely.
So making sure that's a really good point, that everybody in the system is kind of vetted and working. So should not matter where you go. Yeah. It should feel like the same Dave's Hot Chicken or Mike's or Buffalo's.
Yeah.
And those, if you feel like that's a business that would be, and I would recommend you, taking next steps or doing more research on.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because we're using our life experiences. This when me and Kim first got in our first Quiznos, we wanted to buy multiple territories, and at that time they don't let you buy one for your first year, and you had to be in it for the first year to prove yourself. We thought, that's a great way, because you could find out, weed out the ones that aren't running them good. But then we were, slapped in the face when they sold them all around us, because we were doing so well for the first 6 months. People saw lines out the door, and we were busting our butt, and trying to build this thing up. And then next thing I know, half these people are in there, some of the people eating lunch in there end up they end up not there to eat lunch. They end up in there shopping to buy the franchise.
Yeah. Yes.
And then they sold these franchises around from us, and then, maybe one wasn't run so well. And it was not too far down the street from us, and it hurt us a little bit too, because they had a bad reputation of some bad stuff happening in the store. So be careful with that when you look at that. One thing too, you got to understand franchising too. When you buy a franchise, they give you the support and training too. They offer you that. They send you the training. Me and you went to Quiznos. I mean, they made you like
Quiznos University.
University, and you had to take like a 5-day course, how to run the back of the house, how to prep food, how to make sandwiches quick, and how to open the store, to close the store. So it was pretty cool, because we were new. We didn't understand any of that. And it really helped us get off the ground and understand the work ethic and what it really took to run. Because then we got to work side by side with existing franchisees that put us through this training. And you got to ask a lot of questions. You get to see the lady showed up every day, the owner. Yeah. She was there. And I was like, okay, this is what it takes. Yes. Okay. I knew at that point.
Yeah, that was a big plus, is that you get to look for a franchisor that would send you to training, and that they value the importance of training just like you do.
Yeah. On the aspect too is when you start looking at the interest, you start finding something in your market that you think it needs to be there. So as you're looking around, you find something you like. Hey, my town needs one of these, and then you start really dialing into it, and then you kind of start moving forward. And you got to really pay attention to the franchise agreement.
Have a good pulse of the demand though before you sign the docs. Like you really got to do a lot of research and making sure that the demand is there for that business, especially if you're going into like one of these one-trick pony businesses where like you only have one item or two items that you're selling. So pay a lot of attention and do most of your research. And it's almost like you want to just be so overwhelmingly busy and be like, I just don't have. That's where you should start feeling like it's time to open the business. But don't think that the demand is going to come after you open the business.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's a unique position that franchisors offer franchisees, is that they have that. Most of them should have that, that information to pull from.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is the type of market I'm in. How is it doing in like markets and other places? What's that demand look like? Yeah. What are their average unit volumes? Is it a top 10% or a bottom 10%? And those are the types of questions you're asking.
Yeah. And it's important too to travel around. Go to the ones that that they're recommended to go talk to, and then go ones that they're not recommended to talk to franchisees. Go look in that store. So if you're looking at a concept and they have them in Dallas, go to Dallas. Spend the weekend with your family. Mm-hmm. Go sit in those businesses, whatever they might be. I don't know. It could be a lawn care business. It could be a tent business. It could be a sub shop. I don't know.
Go shop them as a guest when they don't know you're coming.
Yes.
Go sit in there as a guest and truly say, does this feel good? Is everybody around me having a good time? Or whatever the type of product is, are they happy with what they're getting? And is just like, do you feel like they're going to come back again?
Yeah. I think that's important that you do that, when you say that. And then also, too, I would look at the competition, right? Mm-hmm. I would think that's important, too. Is me and you a while back, we were looking at the brand Smash Burger, which you still love.
Love Smash Burgers.
They're a really good burger. But that was when the burger was like crazy. You had Five Guys rolling out, Mooyah Burger, all these burgers.
There was a lot of them. Yeah,
there's a lot of burger joints. So you got to think. Then you kind of go back to the think like, okay, how many people live in my area? They're not going to eat hamburgers every day. They're not going to go to Five Guys one day, then Smash Burger the next. They're going to pick a hamburger. Hey, let's eat a hamburger. Pick one of those places. So when even chicken wings, there's so many chicken wing places. Or what kind of atmosphere you bring in? So you got to understand your competition and what you're bringing. And me and you decided not to do Smash Burger, and then the burger chain started falling apart.
Yeah,
because they were oversaturated. And I see that with the hot chicken business too. We go all over, especially big towns. Dave's Hot Chicken. I like Dave's Hot Chicken. Our kids like it. We've been to some competitors of theirs, haven't we? We've traveled them all, and we're like, But they're all saturating the business, and they're going to end up hurting each other more. So when you start looking at those, you got to pay attention to your competition. One of the things, too, that I know we have to really, really pay attention to is the legal part of it, right? And the compliance of it. If you're selling a place that serves liquor or beer, you got to be careful. Does your markets available? Is there a liquor license available? Some states aren't like Texas. You can go get some states, I think Jersey, you can't even hardly get a liquor license.
No, that's like owning a big old home. They're like $1 million bucks, and it's a huge asset that sits on your books, and someone has to go out of business or die before you can get one. Yeah. There's a big market for that, but that's a big deal.
Kim has to do like a big research on the liquor side of it to make sure, and there's a lot of complication part with that. It's complicated, right?
Oh yeah, it's not easy applying for a liquor license. There's a bunch of hoops and things that you have to jump through that you make sure that you can fulfill before you sign up for a business that sells alcohol, no doubt. But I lost my train of thought. But I was going to say, what was I going to say? What were we talking about?
Compliance, legal.
New franchisees. When you're getting into this business of franchising, you want to make sure that you read through the FDD and make sure that you know what you're signing up for. Because a lot of these times you may want to sign up for chicken wings, let's just say chicken wings, and you're tied down to where you can't go and buy Dave's Hot Chicken. Yeah. So you can't do chicken tenders. So make sure you know what you're signing when you're getting into these agreements, because there are fine lines that you have to really pay attention to, and that you're locking yourself down to this business. Yep.
You might think you want to run a chicken farm too, and you're going to produce your own chicken, but you're going to find out you can't. You've got to buy it from only that vendor.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to really know what you're reading, but that's the beauty of it. They give it to you. They're upfront. Mm-hmm. All the franchisors that we've dealt with, they're upfront. They want you to read it. They encourage you to read it. They encourage you to get some attorney to read it for you and to explain to you what you're getting into.
Yeah, it's their story. It's what their percentages are going to charge you, what kind of training fees they're going to charge you. There's a lot of little fees in there that aren't up front when you start Googling it or just looking on the brochure. So you got to really pay attention to that and dig into that because, like Kim said, it holds you to it and it legally binds you to it.
Yeah.
And when you buy these franchises, I mean, you might sign a 10-year franchise agreement. You're on the hook like a lease for a franchise agreement.
Yeah.
We ran into that at Buffalo Wild
whatever.
Wings. We didn't understand this, but with the hurricanes and delays, we opened a store a little late. And our first or second store, I can't remember, but we were getting charged royalty fees.
Yeah.
Because we didn't open up on time, and they were charging us like, I don't know, it was like $700 a week or something. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to pay attention to that. And I want to go back to the compliance part and the legality part, because as soon as me and Justin go out in the road, we're like, hey, we found a new site for a Buffalo Wild Wings in Missouri City, for example. When we're working on, Kim first says, is there a church or school close to it?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Because that's a big no-no in Texas. We pick about that because there's a business we know in our town that couldn't sell liquor, and they didn't realize that when they leased a spot, it was a closed down restaurant, so it was easy for them to get into. That the school was right behind it, and they couldn't get a liquor license because it has to be so far away from the school.
Yeah.
There's a lot of compliance too, and not to jump in, you have to pay attention to things that might not even be your radar. Like I recently opened a small business, and if you were an existing business, you got grandfathered into all the laws of the land of your jurisdiction. But once you change the type of business, so if you're looking at a franchisee and you're changing it from a cell phone repair shop to a small restaurant, your type of business changing, that's a whole different basket. So don't take for granted what that existing place has. There's going to be new compliance and legality to what your new business is. So that there was a lesson learned for me, but it's something to look out for.
Oh, yeah.
We've run into that issue too when you kind of look at old shopping centers, you go into it and you want to put a new store in it, remodel it. Well, this one didn't have a sprinkler system. Now you need to add a sprinkler system. It's like, wow, that's expensive,
Yeah.
So you got to be careful when you're looking at all those. But that'll be in the FDDs. Those will be in your paperwork that you get. And there's a lot of questions to ask on that. One of the things too, I want to say, it's like your growth model too. Look at a franchise system. That, when we look at new franchises or new businesses, we want to look what's the potential, not just to open one. We want to open 5, or whatever that might be, because, and that's when you got to look at these businesses do you have an opportunity to grow in, or you just be stuck in one market? Because when you're in a big franchise, it's great to have one, but when you're in a smaller one, you want to have multiples in there to make business. It's easier to scale. So when you look at these concepts, you want to find one that you can scale kind of quickly and grow into it too,
Yeah, you always want to have an avenue of growth, but just beware, because some of these franchisees, or franchisors rather, they want you to sign up for like a 5 or 10 store deal. But if you can't make that type of commitment, you're paying those fees up front and you're committing to those fees. So just be careful. You do want an avenue of growth responsibly. However, make sure you are able to grow the path that you're signing up for.
That's right. You always preach that too. And in the old days, franchises would sell you one. Now it's like, this is a 3 to 5 store package deal.
Yeah.
Because it's just like that. It's like future sales. They'll give you a time frame to open them, and that's negotiable too. You'll get incentives if you buy more. That's negotiable too. There's all of the negotiables in there too. So, but that's important, Kim. But I think when you go back and look at the whole brief synopsis, if you want to get in a franchise, like that young mother asked, if you want to get in the business, find something you're interested in. Find if it's a need in your market. Look at your competition. Look at your financial needs. What's it going to cost to put down? We had a podcast on that a while back. Do I need a partner, or should I do or not? Well, if you have the money to put down on a smaller franchise system, look at it without bringing a partner. Then if you do, it's a lot easier too. If those guys are out there, I'm on these calls all the time, and these existing, entrepreneurs, these young people want to get in a business, and they're looking at a franchise, and they'll make comments like, look, I don't have the money, but I have the work ethic. I have the experience. I have this degree or this work. This is where I came from. I just need an investor. And there's people out there all the time that will invest in you.
Absolutely.
So if you have a concept that you really like, and it's got a niche in the market, nobody's there, but you might be missing a little bit of money of the side of it. That's the most important thing. I said, you always got to have money to make money, and go out and try to find an investor. Because there's people out there all day that don't want to put the work in, but that have the money or, you know, have got the income to help you support it and can help you get financing, and then you negotiate that with an opening, you know, with a ownership agreement, right? As a partnership agreement.
Yeah, definitely negotiate, because that can be scary as well.
And pay attention to your people too. So just like from an ops perspective, you know, if you were able and, you know, blessed enough to get the financial piece worked out, you also have to really ask yourself, especially if you're interested in grow, do I have the ability to grow my people to run these things?
Yeah.
And you're mapping that out, and you're developing people. If you're running store 1, you know, your store number 2 person needs to be developed. You need to learn how to develop, and you need to make sure if you're going to be a 1 store, you know, in my hometown, you're probably good. But if you're going to grow the business, you have to grow your people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge element. And the franchise system will help you with that, and it'll provide tools. But ultimately, they are not going to provide you people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something to sum it all up there at the end is the people you put around it. We make these conversations all the day. It's the 16 restaurants that we have. You know, they're all running great. You know, when we had our Quiznos, they ran great. Me and, you know, we talked about this. We had a location in Houma, Louisiana that, I don't know, got hit by 3 hurricanes. But we talked about it. It was a, you know, $2.8 million Buffalo Wild Wings. But I guarantee you, if I was a single operator owner, lived there, it would be a $4 million Buffalo's.
Mm-hmm.
Because the owner, when you're involved, it's going to run so much differently. You know, when you step away, you're going to water down the system a little bit. So be careful with that. You know, commit to 1, 2. But then when you start trying to get bigger, it starts to water down, and you better have some good people and be in your stores. I see you over there smirking. What do you got?
Yeah, because I've seen so many franchisees in our area come in and set up shop and then close shop, and it's just sad because you're buying a business, but you're actually buying a job.
You are,
and you've got to remember that. And until you're ready to scale and develop your people, you're in that business.
Yeah.
So you can't just open the door and go home.
Yeah.
And let other people run your business. You have to be actively involved in your business until you can create people that are like-minded and think like you and operate like you, and to be successful.
That's why our original recommendation is like what you do, love what you do. We're excited when we walk into our business, even though it's tough work, even though it's grueling, even though we see things that are, you know, that are tough to deal with, but we're excited about it, and that will resonate with your people, and that's the type of business that you should be looking for. And if you show up and don't have a great attitude, and you're not engaged, and you're not involved, and you're not putting in extra hours, it's going to be really hard to get your people to do that.
Yeah. You know, it's important. I'm glad you said that. It's like a lot of people think just because they buy a franchise, they just put autopilot and let it run, and you just kind of sit in the back. It's not going to work out. We've seen that multiple times. We saw that in some concepts that we sold and just did not work out. You know, you have to be there and enjoy what you're doing. If you don't really enjoy and want to be in your business, then I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't do it.
Store 2 will come.
Yeah.
It will come, but have patience with store number 1.
Yeah.
And learn your business.
Learn your business.
Because the franchise model is giving you the business plan, basically. You just got to get in there and put your touch on it and learn it.
That's it. How do you make it extra special?
Yeah.
And if you're in there, you're going to make it extra special. Every single experience or every single thing you sell, you're going to be saying, how do I make this awesome?
Yes.
And if you're not in there doing it, you're trusting someone else who doesn't have stake in the game, who isn't making the no payment, who doesn't sign the docs. And not to say there isn't 1%ers out there and a lot of really talented operators, but when you're starting out and you're looking at a business, you really have to make sure that in a franchise system, you're paying that 8 cents for all those systems, but you're going to gain some of that back by making it extra special. And ownership does that. Owner operators do that.
Yes.
And we try to do that all the time. Yeah. So I mean, we constantly are watching our stores, constantly watching the videos and paying attention. When 16, we can't be in the stores all the time. Justin was in my office this morning, or he was down in his office. Justin, look at Starbucks. We've got a line out their door. There's 20 people there. And we're both like looking at the sales, looking at the hours, looking at the labor model. Do we need to add a third person? Yes, Thursdays are one of our busiest days. So we're adjusting the models, constantly working to give the best experience. If you reach out to us and tell us, hey, I was in one of your stores the other day and I waited 50 minutes for my food, we're looking at that. We're upgrading our systems. Matter of fact, we spoke to a guy this morning that said, hey, man, I don't know what you've done different at your Buffalo's here in our hometown, Beaumont, but, man, the food is coming out faster. It's better. And he said, I was asking the manager, and he said, y'all added some new computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the KD units, and I was like, yes, that's what we do.
Technology and people. We upgraded, with
Yeah.
a great back of house, really talented, minded leader there. And then when we had that leader, we gave him some tech, and those KDUs absolutely make a big, speed of service impact.
Yeah, it's because that's the biggest problem in our business is
display
speed
units.
of service, speed of service, speed of service. So, I want to encourage all you guys, go out there if you're interested. That's the biggest thing, is take the first step. If you got to figure out if you want to do this, and then take the step. There's a lot of people ask me and Kim, how'd you get what you got? We took the step.
Take the step.
Take the step if you're interested, and go pursue it. Find every means possible to get your own business. It's the America is watered down than what the dreams used to be, but it's still there. You still can buy a business. You still can run it yourself. It might be a little harder than it was years back, but hopefully it'll get better. And just work hard and bring your kids along. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Our kids came along with our business ride, and everyone know how to cook chicken wings and talk business now. So
that's some of the purpose of this podcast. If you're looking at getting into a franchise system, there's a lot of people out there and a lot of seasoned franchisees that want to help, and we want to pour back into people who might be listening, who might want to take that step. I'd recommend the same thing. It's a lot of anxiety. It's a lot of money, but there's a lot of great content, people, connections, conferences out there that will help you be successful.
Yeah.
Yep. They can change the world. These brands right here, especially that Buffalo Wild Wings and Quiznos, changed mine and Kim's life.
Yep.
Took that step. Hey, thank you so much, you two, for your wisdom and all that. I wish we could probably really, if we didn't have a time cap, we can really have a 2-hour conversation about this and dive a lot deeper. But question of the day, it's because me and Kim came home last night, and we were excited to get home. We got chapel. Kim had a big meeting. We got home. We turned the news on and watched the debate.
So, you mean Seinfeld?
Yeah.
It felt more like a sitcom than a debate.
What
Man,
in the world?
This is sad. So I want to get your two opinions. I want your opinion, and you'll hear mine too, about the debate. Kim, what did you, after witnessing the last two debates, but witnessing where we're at for the election coming up, but they're not having a Democratic debate. I don't know why. I mean, they should. But the Republican debate was on last night. What did you think about it?
Well, I did not really get anybody's viewpoint because they were constantly talking over one another, so I could not understand. It looked like several of them were honing in on the young lady that had broken English. It was hard to understand what the questions that she was asking.
Yeah.
So I could tell that they were kind of leaned in, like super focused on her mouth to understand the question that she was asking. So I don't know. They could have maybe displayed that in a more of a, in a teleprompter
thing,
like what she was asking. So I thought that was kind of odd for them. And then the other thing, just for me, is that when they were talking about public education, I feel like that is some of should be our focus.
Mm-hmm.
All these global warmings and all that other kind of bull crap that people are buying into. Here in the United States of America, while they're running the earth on the other side of the world, makes no sense to me as how focused we are and how much money we spend on this silly global warming thing. But anyway, public education is something that we really need to look into because our general ed kids are suffering on a vine.
Yeah.
And it's pathetic and it's ridiculous. And, they talked about not getting in bed with these teacher lobbyists and all this. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That they're ruining our educational system, trying to cram down our throat this critical race theory and all that other kind of bull crap. But apart from that, I thought was very interesting for all of these candidates is that they were the reason why they were trying to talk over each other and be louder than the next person is that they had to make a stance this debate because the last debate they were kind of put down that they weren't standing up for themselves or standing up for what they believe in. And they're looking for donor money, which I think is so pathetic in this country that they have to treat other people rudely and disrespect their time on the media because they want someone else to put money in their pockets to further advance their campaign. And I think that's disgusting.
And they'll say whatever they need to say to do that.
They're tied to them, right?
Yeah.
They're absolutely tied to them.
Yeah. You're right.
That was a lot to unpack right there.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you going to ask me who my candidate was?
Yeah.
Well,
My candidate's not on stage. It's Donald Trump.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
Because, and I'll tell you why. Because when I lived under Donald Trump's reign here in the United States of America, my interest rates were low. I didn't pay $6 at the pump, and I felt like my freedoms were protected.
Yeah. You say that because we just got back from California, and it was like 6 something a gallon.
Yeah,
It was crazy, and people
ridiculous.
were complaining like crazy over there, talking about it.
And the whole state was,
Yeah.
the city of San Francisco was just trashed. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
They should, shame on you.
Yeah, the drug addiction is unbelievable there.
Oh, it's
the
awful.
gas is unbelievable there. Yeah, you made a lot of topics about you spilled your beans there for sure.
Well, you asked me
mean,
about politics, and
well,
I'm
I
going to
know.
give you my fair sharing.
After listening to it, I knew you would come back at the school thing, because public school districts or school systems is broken. It's the funding's broken.
Yes.
The whole system's broken. The departments of how either general ed, higher ed, special eds. They're all broken for all of our students, and we're not focused on that. We're too busy focused on things that we don't need to be focused on.
Yeah.
And it starts with our kids, and it's so dadgum frustrating. Give these kids a better education, Justin. I think that they say that we're I don't even know the number, but like we should be the top educated system.
We should be.
We should be.
We
But
have the resources to be.
when you look at the funding and what we pay these teachers, it's absolutely embarrassing.
Oh, absolutely.
I wanted to see, Justin, I'm not stealing your time, but I wanted to just get on here and say that I wanted to see more talked about that.
Well, when a manager can, I got to say this, when a manager can make more at a Buffalo Wild Wings than a teacher can in a classroom teaching our children, our future of America, that's terrible.
When a teacher makes less than most everybody,
Yeah.
it's absolutely it's horrendous, and we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
No, the Democrats or the Republicans are not talking about it. See, I'm getting in my topic
I don't even
here.
get to make a relationship
Yeah.
with them, right? Because they're not going on TV. But like, I'm looking for who's real and authentic when I'm listening to them. And then I'm wired in just what we do in the SMART acronym, right? I want someone on stage to start taking some stands and give me some specific, measurable things that they can attain within reason with timestamps. I want to know exactly what you're doing, and I want some substance. And it felt like watching Seinfeld last night. There were glimpses of education where I was listening to DeSantis and talking about Florida and universal school choice, where I was like, yep, I agree with that. That's substance. That's interesting. Don't know when he'll do it or if it felt real. I was questioning that. I thought there was a lot of interesting pieces to like energy that Vivek was talking about that I feel like businessman probably going to do it. Both of those things roll up into, I think Trump does it better.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at immigration, and I'm just like 70,000 plus people, I think, was brought up. That was the only number that I heard all night of people dying in fentanyl. And I'm like, yeah, we absolutely have a problem. We're all talking about it, but nobody's giving me any substance on exactly what they're doing so I can hold them to the fire. And in our business, you don't get fired if you mess up, but you at least have to give us the plan, show us how you're going to get there. And when you don't get there, we coach you to do it better and better and better and better. But we, as Americans, I don't even feel like we know the plan. Yeah. And I'm sitting back going, I don't know the plan, but I know who runs good businesses. And there's only really 2 candidates in my mind that run good businesses, and I'm leaning more towards that. And seeing if they're authentic. But on the other side of the aisle, I'd love to hear the substance. I'll listen to it. I'll watch it. But, I guess it's nap time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's where I'm at.
That's where you're at. You got your guy picked? You're still open?
I'm with Kim, and I think I alluded to that. I'm still very much in the Donald Trump, where I believe one of the most important core items to me is I do what I say I'm going to do, and I CYA all the time, and I hold that near and dear. And I do feel as though I want a president who does what he says he's going to do, and that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with every policy. But I know at the end of the day, to your point, like I feel safe and sound that the plan is going to be executed.
Yeah.
And that's the only person I trust. When I see the plan, it's going to be executed. And then I have to adapt to that plan, good or bad.
Yeah.
But I know what the plan is. a lot of those other people I feel like are going to blow smoke up our asses for the next year and a half and then get into office and it's be like, whoa, that's not what I voted for.
Yeah.
So I'm still on the Trump fence until one of them can prove to me otherwise.
Yeah.
But I'm open-minded to it.
Right.
Well, that's I'm glad I get to hear all y'all. Me and Kim didn't really talk about the debate last night because by the time it went off, we were getting ready for bed and getting Chapel in bed, and we didn't get to visit about it. So, you opened up. It's good. Watching the debates, it's just we all talk politics a lot here. I was very disturbed with it. I'm just disturbed of the like you said, there's no answers in it. And I think that's why the people are crazy about Trump is because he got up there and gave answers to the question. What are you going to do about this? Drill, baby, drill. He just gave honest feedback. Now, is he blunt honest sometimes? Yeah, 100%. That's how business people are. Sometimes you speak the truth. I've been around some of these. We talked about this before. Politicians, I'm tired of the crap. Yeah. I'm tired of them. They all lie to me. None of them are honest. And it's like if I tell a little white lie, you've always like, Chris, and you could catch me like, how many have you had 2 beers? No, I've had 1. And you're like, yeah, whatever. Nope. You've had 2. You can tell these guys have no conscience. They will look you right, and all of them on those news channels, they'll look you right in the face and tell you something. And then the next day say, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
And they'll cut clips and all this. It's sickening, but education is one of the scariest things in my mind. Mm-hmm. That our poor kids are suffering, and we have no answer. That should be the topic of the very first topic today. We talk about, everything else on here that shouldn't be talked about right now. The kids, the teachers should be number one topic. And then on another front too, it's like when you look at, like we talked about franchising, I try to look at these candidates today, like DeSantis. I kind of like the guy because I go back and look what he's done in Florida.
Yeah.
It's like a franchisee.
Can't ignore it.
It's like franchisee. Okay, do I want to buy this concept that has never opened one yet? And hasn't done anything? Or do I want to buy this one I can go look at its track record and look what it's done, and you could see how it's ran. Mm-hmm. He's blunt too. He'll tell you he tells you that. He's not trying to sugarcoat stuff or lie to you, I feel. I'm sure there's some to it too. But then you go look at these other people like, Christy, what are you doing? All you're trying to do is do a platform of attacking Trump. But what have you done in the past? I am not buying that franchise. Yes. I'm not buying. Nikki Haley, I liked you until you came out last night and got vicious again. I went back and watched this Ronald Reagan thing in the back where it says, be nice to all, like don't say anything negative or to Republicans. Don't say anything negative to anybody.
Yeah.
Why do you have to say negative? I just want to hear positive.
Well, so again, she was trying to make a stance for herself.
She was trying to win on that, and so my 2 favorites, of course, DeSantis. I like his because I look at Florida, what he's done there. I see people moving there. We were in California this week, saw multiple people that live in San Francisco, that live in the areas that are like, we tell them we're from Texas. First they'd pick with this and say, y'all must be from Texas because your accent. It's like, y'all, and they were like, yeah, we're trying to get there too. And these are young people.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have no state income tax. So we've already looked at that.
Yeah.
And it's sad because when, like Kim said, we drove down San Francisco streets and see the drugs.
Oh, it's terrible.
It is unbelievable. If you've never been there, oh my. And they're not showing that on TV. Heck, we're opening a store in Houston right now. And every morning our team has to go outside and the other restaurants are in the same shopping center business have to shoo. And they're not homeless. They're drug addicted, and they get in the trash. They build forts out of the cardboard, and every morning we have to go up there and clean up their mess and shoo them away. And it's sad. And they're not homeless. They're drug addicted people, and we're not talking about the fentanyl. That's something else. It's a big problem. So
DeSantis.
That's
your guy?
I think that's my guy right now. I like Trump too. Believe me, Trump, but I just, I feel like we talk about this a lot too, that I feel people get out of when they go vote that day, some of them can care less. They just go vote against Trump, because of the negative that they spun on him, and I like I said, that's just my vision.
That's wild to me.
And it's just,
totally
you ask people
wild.
like, hey, where are we at better today or 4 years ago? I don't know. I feel like 4 years ago, we were all better. We can do all much better. That's the thing. I feel like we need a candidate right now that can really turn the tides and bring us back together as a community and a world and a people that are proud to where they live, no matter where you came from. You follow the laws, you do it right, and we're proud to hold our flag. Right now, when I see people not wanting to hold our flag, what broke? What's broke? You know, I'm sorry. I grew up in poverty. I grew up on food stamps. I pick about trailer parks because I grew up in one. I, graduated late from high school, 2 years late. Didn't go to college, but I'm still proud that I did something.
Yeah.
And I want to instill that. As I said, I want to instill that. I want to run with one of these candidates and just be their spokesman somehow.
I think Netflix should come out with a special on every single one, so you can get to know them, learn their history, all of it. It just, I don't know, if you're gonna go vote, you just no different than watching the new Star Wars or the new Netflix episode. You should be doing that research and making your vote count. And as someone who admittedly, when I was younger, didn't pay enough attention to what the actual impact was, it's worth a little bit of research to make sure your vote counts.
They do the hard knocks. Why can't they do it? Why can't they follow these people, follow each of them, do a documentary where it's a true documentary of each person and not how Fox wants to spin it or CNN wants to spin it or how the media wants to spin it for you. It's like, you watch these, reality shows. This guy's not a bad guy, but they wanted to spin him to be bad, because he said one thing. And so I think that'd be great. That's awesome. Netflix, do that.
Glenn Beck actually talked about that, doing that on Blaze TV, about bringing in just one or two candidates at a time and just getting their views and their politics and what they want to do as president. I think that's a great way to really for us as citizens to know the candidates that we're voting for. But to be honest, Chris, that's not what these news medias want. They want to put on the circus. They want people to be blindsided by the circus and be wrapped up in the circus. So they can get you emotional when you go to the polls. They want an emotional vote instead of an educated vote. And that's what they're trying to poke.
It's funny that you say that. It is, because if you go watch our reels, we had a conversation about this today. If you go watch our reels and things that our guys are posting, the more negative comments, the more it opens up.
Oh, yeah, that's what they want.
Yeah. The more positive or just thumbs up or likes in the positive, they push us down.
It's like, that really helped me out. Yeah, we're not going to blast that out.
It's
and that goes, let everybody know.
That goes YouTube, all of them. It's funny. The more negative we get, it's like it blows up, and the reels go crazy, 100,000 views in them. But then if they're positive, they don't. That's just sickening in the world. So okay, well, hey, this question gotten a lot longer than I thought. Normally do a 5 minutes into this, but got some good content in there. But hey, guys, thank you so much. Franchising, if you're looking at it, go do it, study it, go to conferences, get in the books, get in social media, look them up, study them, find one for you. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate your time. You have a good day.